Hi there. We're getting started. Give me a minute to get set up. Hi, everyone. So, I have picked randomly 6 people tonight who I'm going to be doing their monograms. So these are their Instagram handles. We're going to start with Daynurse. Then we're going to move over to Barb, Nelson, Colette, Madeline Page, Jessica Lee, and Lauren. All right, let's get started. I'm going to pick some random colors first, but if you guys shout out some colors, I will pick some colors from the chat to do for the future monograms. We're going to get started with this guy, the D and M for Daynurse. I don't know which brushes I'm going to be using today. I have a couple out. We'll see how it goes. I really love this green color. I'm going to be moving things around a lot. Okay, let's get settled this one. So what I like to do for the monograms is use a combination of the strong pigment with some water, so we really get a lot of that gradient in there, different hues, so it really lets the watercolor effect shine. I'm so excited to be doing this, guys. I'm going to do a couple more over the next couple weeks. So if your name didn't get picked tonight, don't worry. I'll be posting some more chances for you guys to put in your names and your initials to have them illustrated for you. Anyone whose name I did pick, I'll be sending you a digital copy of yours so that you can use it for your invitations or any of your other wedding stationery, business stationery for your business. And then for this other one, let's do a brown. So we'll do a nice sage green and a brown. For this one, I chose to do more of a modern monogram. So we're going to do a couple of modern ones, and then we're going to do a couple of vintage looking ones. So this is a modern interlocking one. Adding lots of water and letting it run so we get that nice watercolor effect here. And that is our D and M. This is for lucky number 1, Daynurse. So if you're just joining us, these are our lucky winners. I'm going to move on to Barb next, and I'll get through all 6 today. And then I'll pick some more to do next week. Has anybody shouted out some colors? I'm going to take a look and see. Ooh, I see rust and olive. That's a good combo. Let's do that one next. If anybody else shouts out colors, I'll choose those colors for the next couple. All right, rust and olive. So for rust, I usually, ooh, dropped my brush. For rust, I usually make a rust color using my red and some brown. And I always do it in this section. This is like my brick red section. You'd be surprised how often that comes up. So we're doing some red, brown for a nice rust color. Okay. So moving on to M and B for Barb. Just using lots of water again, combined with a stronger pigment and letting it bleed into each other wherever I can. Try and get that nice graded watercolor effect. So I just kind of alternate between using a lot of water and using then a heavier pigment. I'm just going over these lines. And I sketched these out beforehand with actually a watercolor pencil. So I like to use these watercolor pencils for my sketches. They do erase after you use them, but even better if they're, you know, sort of in line with the painting anywhere. They actually dissolve in water. So if you do have them, you know, kind of in your paint area anywhere, you can just use water to dissolve them and it disappears. You can see that the line just disappeared. So it's pretty useful for that. Got our M. And then we're going to do our olive green for the B. And it's totally okay that my B is a little bit further away. When I digitize it, I might move it a little closer in. This gives us enough space to paint it. And then for the line, I might just do gray. So you can see what I mean with this. Watercolor pencil actually just dissolves there. It creates a nice gray. All right. And for our next modern one, let's see what colors we can do. Did anybody else give some colors? Let's see. Ooh, champagne and gold. Love that idea, Brittany. Let's do that. So I do actually have some metallic watercolors. So we can do champagne and gold for those in a nice metallic color. I love using these. I use the metallic silver a lot actually for bridal portraits. So I do a lot of anniversary portrait paintings on handmade paper. And I'll actually use silver usually for the bride's hair, for the bride's dress, jewelry, anything where I want to add a little extra sparkle. And I love using the silver for the dress especially. It just looks so much nicer than using like a gray. Reflects the light in a nice way. So this one is C and P. This is for Colleen 18, Colette 18, excuse me. We've got our gold. Now we're moving on to our champagne color, which needs to be cleaned a little bit because there's some yellow on here. You can see the difference there between the champagne and the gold. It's a subtle difference between the colors, but the gold is definitely more yellow. And I'm going over this a couple times because I'm trying to dissolve that pencil in there. Sometimes I don't mind the pencil showing up a little bit on the edges, but what we can do to sort of fade that in there, I think would be nice. All right. And I think for this gold, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna combine a little bit of gold with a little bit of brown, so I can give it a little bit more dimension. Make it stand out a little bit more. That looks so nice. You can see it's got a nice sparkle. All right, moving on to the vintagey ones. Anyone else have any color suggestions? I think I'm going to do a blue and a gray for this one. So these are our winners. The J and the L, I believe, is 5. We're skipping around a little bit. This is one of my favorite blues. It's really bright. And it fades really nicely. So I love using this for the sky or water because it just creates the most beautiful washes. These are our more vintagey looking monograms over here. Maybe we'll do blue for both sides, actually, with this one. Give that a shot. some more pigment here. Make it really dark on the end there. Dark up here. Add in some more washes there. Oh, that's going to look great. That's going to continue to bleed as it dries. All right, and now we're moving on to the L and the R for Lauren. Any other color suggestions? Oh, Lauren. All right, dusty blue and sage and gold. All right, let's do it. So we're going to make a dusty blue over here. And do blue. Lots of water. And some gray in there. All right. Got a nice dusty blue. You can see how that adding that gray and that water really gave us more of a dusty color. And for sage, I'm going to use this green that I have. It's kind of muddled green I have going on over here. R in that. This is more that vintage style. Very Victorian. And when I do these Victorian monograms, I actually have a book I can pull out to show you that has a whole compendium of vintage lettering styles from Victorian monograms, and then also from some 19th century embroidery patterns, which I think are really cool. I have some vintage floral books as well. I love getting inspiration from, not just other people on the internet, and not just following what's trending, but actually going back to the original source of it all and getting inspiration from there. That way we can make sure our work is really artistic and unique. I also love getting inspired by the couple's wedding destination or their personal stories. So things like where they met, how they met, where they went to school, where they're getting married, their hometowns, if they have, vastly different geographical upbringings. That's really cool to pull into an invitation sometimes. All right, and then for this little diamond guy in here, we're going to do that accent of gold. Maybe even pull in some gold. Highlights in here. All right, that's our R and L for Lauren. Oh, I'm so glad, Lauren. I'm definitely going to send this to you afterwards. And then our last one tonight is for Madeline Page Photography. Let's take a look and see if anybody else had some different color suggestions. I'm taking a look at the chat now. I see gold, silver, and bronze. That could be very cool. Jessica, I see that you joined. You were one of our lucky ones. So you'll be getting your J and your L after this. And Daynurse, you too. You were one of our first ones tonight. So you'll have your D and your M after this. Let's do gold. It's really shining now. It's gotten wet. I can get a lot more pigment here. A little bit more down here. All right, I'm gonna do silver behind. Let's try and get this silver reactivated a bit. Silver with the pencil is going to work out wonderfully. It's going to blend right in there. And for bronze, maybe we'll just do a little bit of a crest behind it. Okay. So for bronze, I'm gonna mix our gold with some brown. Maybe a little red. And there's our little crest. Cool. old silver and bronze. Love it. Let's take a look at how this is shimmering. So beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Our lucky winners tonight are going to get their monograms sent to them digitally so they can use them. And then I'm going to be posting again in a couple of days asking for more. So if you want a chance to get chosen for next week, I'll try and do it again on a Thursday at the same time. You'll have a chance to get yours done. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.